Friday, and on this light note, I'd like to welcome you to Inside Nigeria. Today, I have a lot of interesting stories to share with you, and I'll be doing that in just about 5 minutes. My name is Tion Joseph, your regular host. I'll begin today's show with the Friday publication of the Leadership newspaper. And on the front page, the lead story says, as Nigeria in 70 days, next president must tackle fuel subsidy, exchange rate crisis, says El Rufai. You can find the full story on page 4. Heading down there, it says, be ready to sacrifice second term for tough decisions. I will reflect diversity in my key appointments, says Atiku. I'm not championing sectional interest, says Obi. That is the story we have on the front page of Leadership newspaper this Friday. But of course, you can find more stories. You just need to hop onto our website, www.leadership.ng, and you will be served. Having said that, let's look at The Nation. The lead story on The Nation this morning says, EFCC recovers 30 billion naira from Accountant General Idris. Agency remits 136 billion naira in 7 months. Politicians under watch. That is the report from The Nation this morning. We take a look at this day. And on this day today, the list says higher food, energy, import cost drive inflation to 21.47%. Severe in Ebonyi, Kogi, Rivers. Again, World Bank urges Nigeria to remove import restrictions, adopt single FX rate. Says country has lost its rigging growth status of the 2000s. El Rufai, things won't get better in next 3 years of next administration. Insists next president must take urgent, tough decisions. FG 6 local foreign help to fund NDP. That is the report from this day. Now we take a look at the Punch briefly. The story on the Punch this morning says, banks run out of new naira, demand soars. Cashiers ration new notes, lenders allot 100,000 naira per teller in banks. Suspicious customers snub new notes as local traders reject new currency. Court declines stop CBN withdrawal policy. MFLA meets reps Tuesday. That is what we have from the Punch. Now to conclude the first part of the show, let's take a look at The Guardian. On The Guardian this morning, the list story says, banks ration new notes as circulation trickles. Payout in old notes, complain of limited supply. MFLA rights reps defers appearance. Lawmakers push someone to next Tuesday. Ibadan residents yet to see new naira notes. Banks in Kaduna, Kano limit payment to 2,000 naira and 3,000 naira. That sums up the first part of the show. I crave your indulgence to stay tuned for the second part of the show. My name is Tion Joseph, and I'll be back your way again 10 a.m. Monday morning. Until then, you'll have a great weekend.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning. Welcome to the last edition of Inside Nigeria this week. My name is Winnie Fodibebo, and as you can see with me in the studio is our public affairs analyst, Majid Ahiu. Majid, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
You were here last week.
And I'm here this week.
And you are here this week.
Thank you very much.
So we are welcome once again. And as usual, we do on this program, we have papers for review and discussion. We have Nigeria's most influential newspaper, The Punch, The Guardian, THISDAY, and The Nation newspaper for review. And as usual, also on the program, we always start with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Leadership has so many stories on its cover this Friday, talking about Leadership Le Vogue, an all-out colored style magazine will be out this Sunday. It's actually an insert in Leadership Sunday. So don't forget to get a copy of Leadership Sunday in 2 days' time and get a free copy of Leadership Le Vogue. It's an all-style, all glossy, all color magazine. Yes, for the leading story, it says Nigerians decide in 70 days, next president must tackle fuel subsidy, exchange rate crisis. El-Rufai, that's governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasir El-Rufai. It says Nigerians decide in 70 days, next president must tackle fuel subsidy, exchange rate crisis. El-Rufai, be ready to sacrifice second term for tough decisions. I will reflect diversity in my key appointments article. I'm not championing sectional interest. That's the leading story on Friday Leadership or Leadership Friday. As Nigerians decide in 70 days, next president must tackle fuel subsidy, exchange rate crisis. El-Rufai. That's a tough one. And many people are of the opinion that even the part for this next 4 years, it will not be enough to tackle the mess that the country is currently in.
but it's going to start the process. So what I don't agree with Erufai and some other people like him is this issue of focusing so much on fresh subsidy. Again, I've said it several times.
Oh yes, I know your stand.
There's nothing wrong with subsidy in itself. What is wrong is that one, you are subsidizing importation of petrol when you can produce this at home. And secondly, there could be corruption in the administration of subsidy.
Oh yes, there is. Have you forgotten that some people were actually charged for some marketers? I don't think nothing has been heard from me.
So these are the issues we should tackle. I say this because what everyone should have advised presidential candidates to tackle is energy crisis. Nigeria is a country that's endowed with hydrocarbons and other energy resources, but Nigeria is suffering acute energy insecurity.
Yes.
And I would again emphasize, energy security has two components, availability and affordability. That is why government cannot take its hands off the means of production of energy, because government must have to subsidize where it is required to lower prices. Believe it or not, in the UK today, somebody who is familiar with that country, who goes there, who is very familiar with the country, school there and all of that, was telling me last night that in the UK now, because of the rising cost of energy, which has led to the cost of additional cost of living, that is what they call cost of living crisis in the UK, people are now resorting to petty crimes to survive. That's why I believe that in the UK today, people are adjusting their meters to beat. Yes, what we do, what is normal in Nigeria. People are now stealing these torches from people's hands.
Are you sure
People
are also black Africans?
The thing is, it tells you that everyone will react under the same circumstances in particular ways.
That's like what we are seeing in Nigeria.
In Nigeria, people need to survive. And so they're now stealing. Burglaries on the rise in the UK. But right now, shops are even closing because people just walk in and steal. But they cannot survive anymore. Their wages, their salaries cannot longer carry them. And guess what? Trade unions in the UK are on strike. The NHS has been on strike since yesterday. The National Health Insurance. Because they are complaining that their salaries have been eaten up by inflation, occasioned by rising cost of energy. And somebody is advocating for subsidy in Nigeria. What do you imagine will happen? Is it the fault of the citizens that government couldn't fix refineries and refine petrol at home that would have removed the extra cost of importation and tariffs and landing and all of that?
Yes.
Whose fault is it? So the approach should be, government should be looking at how to tackle energy crisis by restarting means of production at home. So can refine what we consume at home. And where the price is still a bit unreasonable, government can now discount crude oil sales to look at refiners, as it is done in the United States of America. Sometimes you wonder where these people study their own economics from. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. The UK has spent over $100 billion just to subsidize energy in the UK. It is still not enough because it is a privately run sector. Unlike what you have in France, that is run by the states, Russia, Ukraine, Norway, and some other countries, including Saudi Arabia and co. What am I saying in essence? Any president candidate that does not have a blueprint for the state-driven energy station is not serious and does not understand the problems. And Nigerians must know that that is a red flag. Anybody who makes too much issue about subsidy is not serious and does not understand what's happening. Because if you remove subsidy, I have some people say, remove subsidy and put it in education. The monies that have been allocated to education right now, how has it impacted positively on education and healthcare? Or will healthcare be free? Come to think of it, you need energy to run healthcare facilities.
Oh, yes.
So if you remove subsidy from energy commodities or items, how do you run your generators? How do you run your electricity bills in healthcare institutions and facilities to take care of citizens? Will healthcare be free now? And if it is free, won't the government incur higher costs because of higher cost of energy to run those places? Let us be serious for once.
Yes, but it's also strange coming from the governor of Kaduna State, Madam Nasir El-Rufai, given the fact that he's also been part of this present government.
No, to be fair to him, he has always advocated for one of subsidy, right from when he was a minister. Yes. So that's when it was DGBP. El-Rufai belongs to the neoliberal school of thought in Nigeria. Those who believe that government has no business in business, including subsidies and all of that, that's their belief. It hasn't worked for us. It has not worked. It didn't work anywhere in the world, and it cannot work here. As we speak today, the United States of America can pass off one of the most socialist countries in the world because government has billions of dollars in subsidies for food.
Yes.
America subsidizes food. America subsidizes education, primary, secondary, and tertiary. America subsidizes housing through public housing schemes. America subsidizes so many things. In fact, there's a social security scheme. People are paid unemployment benefits. My cousin relocated to Canada recently, and they were granted permanent residency. They're not your citizens. So he's back in Nigeria because he's a medical doctor to do some certification courses here and then return. He said on arrival, because they are permanent citizens, his wife was given a grant, not loan, not grant of 30,000 US dollars in Canada to further her education because she's a permanent resident. And his 3 kids are on $500 per month allowance from the state, including subsidized housing. Can we get serious for once in this country?
That would be only in our dreams.
And the reason why this country is able to do this is because they are productive. I keep emphasizing this. The reason why you cannot pay subsidy as when you need to pay it, you are not productive. And the little you have, you are corruptly filtering it away. If Nigeria is productive enough, like some of these countries that are export competitive powerhouses, where they flood the market with the productive outcomes of their outputs of their countries, and then earn foreign exchange, you have enough money to pay these things. So the focus is how do we earn more as a country? And to even earn more, you need to subsidize energy to spur production. If I pay a higher energy bill in Nigeria to manufacture this phone, and some other persons pay less in China to manufacture the same phone, the cost of production will be different, and the pricing I can't compete. This is common economics. Economics is common sense, but they're making it difficult and complicated.
It's so unfortunate that this issue of fuel subsidy has taken almost how many administrations, because it's the same issue of fuel subsidy that consumed Farouk Lawan.
Yes.
The House of Representatives.
Yes.
He went in for it for collecting bribe. But what about those people that were being investigated?
Exactly. We've not heard much from them. One of them served as a minister until recently. One of the accused, the minister from Abia State, Minister of State for Solomon Minerals, until recently when he ran to contest the governorship. One of them was indicted. I was even charged to court. He was appointed a minister in this country. We wouldn't have been talking about subsidy on importation if refineries were working. The question is, how can an OPEC member not have one functional refinery? That should be the conversation. Why is El-Rufai not telling them to go and fix refineries? You know why? El-Rufai believes that government has no business running refineries. And I ask, how is the Saudi government running Aramco and its refineries? How is Brazil running Petrobras and its refineries? How is Venezuela running its refineries, including ones that are in the US? How is Gazprom, a state-owned enterprise, being run by the Russian state? What are we saying? Start Oil is a Norwegian oil company owned by the Norwegian state. It operates in Nigeria. It operates in 36 countries in the world. Imagine the revenue that company will bring into that country for operating in 36 countries in the world. A staff of Statoil confided in someone that, look, in Nigeria alone, over a period of time, they made a profit of $18 billion from this country. And that they will share profits for staffs. Imagine making $18 billion from one country out of 36. You now start wondering why Norway is able to run a welfare state for the citizens.
Wow. Then on the issue of exchange rate crisis,
Exchange
the dollar was
exchange
about
rate.
100.
Exchange rate is a function of
97 or so.
It's a function of your productive capabilities. Even though this government actually introduced policies that has completely destabilized the forex market. Yes, because we're not so productive. Between 1999 and 2015, Naira depreciated at a rate that was even less than 100%. Over a 16-year period. Because from 88 Naira in 1999, it was around 170 max, 170 or so. 170, 80 as at 2015. But there was a gradual depreciation. At the time, the depreciation wasn't more than 2 Naira or so it was stable. So
It was
it was
fluctuating.
just between 1 or 2 naira. It was so until they came in, and in their so-called quest to fight corruption, they went after dollar denominated accounts. Don't deposit, don't withdraw. That sent panic into the system. And in that panic, people withdrew money, people hoarded money. It created scarcity. And so the naira depreciated overnight from less than 200 to 360. Then they continued their wrong-headed policy on forex. Sometimes you say they're not longer intervene. They will intervene tomorrow. They will not intervene next tomorrow. This is how it has driven the currency high. And corruption is responsible for the depreciation of naira. You know why?
Yes.
Most political actors have dollarized the economy. They get naira and they chase after dollars to convert it and make it a store of value.
There was even allegation that even CBN gives dollars at its value to some government officials.
And the government
Who now go and
yes,
sell it.
it's not even government officials. It's something that the CBN created. They created a multiple foreign exchange regime that now encourage what is called round shipping. That is, you get forex from CBN at the official rate of 400. But you know that it's not enough to serve everybody. So people will now resort to the black market to get. So those privileged few that are able to get this official rate will now go to the black market and sell it at the market rate at double the price. So yes, some people have said harmonize foreign exchange, which I agree with. Let us have one exchange rate. Now, the first thing is to stabilize exchange rate. Even if it's at 1,000, stabilize it. Let it be stable. Then you now begin to go into activities of production now that will increase your demand. That will increase your demand. So that will reduce your demand for dollars because of importation and increase your demand for naira because of exportation. So if you don't go into full exportation and reduce the dollarization of the economy through corrupt activities, you have the situation we're having today. So first thing we need to do is to harmonize foreign exchange. Let have one exchange rate, just one. Just to avoid round shipping.
It's really sad that after 8 years, dollar has not been able to
It is increasing.
go down to its.
In fact, the recent naira change of naira redesign also contributed to the spike in the rate of the dollar against the naira.
Okay, let's talk about the new naira notes. The Punch has a leading story. Banks run out of new naira, demand soars. Banks run out of new naira, demand soars. Cashiers ration new notes. Lenders allot 100,000 naira per teller in banks. Suspicious customers snub new notes as local traders reject new currency. Court declines to stop CBN withdrawal policy. Emefiele meets reps Tuesday. I'll take the leading story once again. Banks run out of new naira, demand soars. Cashiers ration new notes. Lenders allot 100,000 naira per teller in banks. Suspicious customers snub new notes as local traders reject new currency. Court declines to stop CBN withdrawal policy. Emefiele meets reps Tuesday. And still on the same bank new naira notes, the Guardian newspaper also has similar story. Banks ration new notes as circulation trickles. Banks ration new notes as circulation trickles. Payout in old notes. Payout in old notes. Complain of limited supply. Emefiele writes reps defers appearance. Lawmakers push summon to next Tuesday. Ibadan residents yet to see new naira notes. Banks in Kaduna, Kano limit payment to 2,000 naira, 3,000 naira.
This is a major challenge. It's going to
I'm
look
sorry,
like
still on the same The Guardian.
Okay.
It's just another leading story, sub-leading story. Is what talking about. As year end, sad tales from states over unpaid salaries arrears.
this is a period of politics, so
They will pay soon.
politicians are mopping up money to go and buy votes at the polling. So I'm not surprised to see this kind of very sad news. And I've seen this report on the ground.
But since it's also the end of the year of election, they will also make payments to pay.
No,
To pay.
No.
Because they know that it's these people that are
No.
going to
That's one thing about the politicians. They consider these people as too free to influence votes. So they'll take this money to the people that they think can influence the vote, other than this. There's this disdain that the political have for public officers. They will tell the public servants and how many are they? How many polling can they control? So they are taking these monies to those that can mop up and not vote for them at the polling units ahead of the election. But to the issue of banknotes,
Yes.
I'm going to have a feeling that the limitations of withdrawals could be as a result of inadequacy of banknotes, because the drastic measures that the CBN has put out on limits of withdrawals for both individuals and corporate organizations appears to be because there is not enough, they didn't print enough of these notes. If that be the case, then that means we are in for a rough ride because of these latest policies. And again, you begin to wonder, was this really necessary in the first place? If you consider the inflationary rate in Nigeria today, people need larger volume of cash to be able to carry out their basic purchases. With the quote that official inflation rate is over 20%, and when they ask me, I think from my own kitchen, what my kitchen is telling me that, my kitchen budget is telling me that inflation in Nigeria is way, way above 200%.
That is the official rate.
So, no, I mean
the
official rate.
No, I am agreeing with you that that is the official
that's official rate. But the unofficial, what is my own rate here? My rate of inflation in my own domain is way over 200%. Anyway, so that means you need more cash to buy what ordinarily you would have needed less to purchase in just the time pass. And so, if people are having problems withdrawing these currencies and there are limitations on withdrawal that appears to even be lower than what the limit has set, then there's a problem. That means the CBN needs to sit down and review all of this policy. In fact, if you ask me, the Naira design was not necessary in the first place. Not at this time.
And the haste too at which is going about it.
Exactly.
One begins to wonder because, to my own knowledge, Emefiele still has about 1 year to go.
So you would have waited for the newest administration to come in, consult to them and see if that fits into their agenda, the monetary policy agenda. That CBN is autonomous does not mean that you shouldn't consult. Autonomy does not mean autocracy. Autonomy simply means after you have consulted widely, including the trader on the street, and you arrive at a policy decision, nobody can influence it otherwise. It should be based on the national interests, not any sectional interest. That was why they made CBN autonomous. But that autonomous status does not mean that you cannot consult.
No, Nigerians have a January deadline,
yes,
right?
January 15th. Is it 15th or 31st? January 31st, yes.
No, with these banks complaining of few new notes and they are rationing new notes, how is that deadline going to be made?
Well, maybe they are not expecting everybody to comply fully with the cashless policy.
So after you maybe deposited your own note,
So
and you are not getting anything,
use your
even
ATMs.
just in commencement.
That you know, ATMs and all other electronic payment platforms.
No, you are talking about inflation. Is that not also going to
That's what I'm saying.
affect?
The thing is, I hope that the scarcity of notes will not persist to the point where even the minimum or maximum is allowed will now be reduced because of rationing of notes. That's my major worry, really. So that's why this news has to be on the front burner until CBN increases supply, money supply to banks, so that at least the maximum they have set, the banks can meet up with the obligation and other payment service providers. So it's important that the attention of CBN is drawn to this issue because it's one that will complicate issues further for Nigeria, especially because of the high rate of inflation.
Okay, thank you so much. With that, we are going on a break. We'll come back. We have other papers to look into. Don't go away with your
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Yes, you're welcome back. And in case you're just joining us, the program is Inside Nigeria. It's actually the breakfast segment of the show, and it's usually on the Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Bebo, and with me in the studio is our Friday guest, our Friday turning guest, Majid Ayo.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now we are looking at this day. This day is having higher food, energy, import costs drive inflation to 21.47%. Higher food, energy, import costs drive inflation to 21.47%. It's actually some of this a story that most of these papers are having also on their cover, because the news broke yesterday from MBS that inflation has risen to 21.47%. And the writer says it's severe in Ebonyi, Kogi, Rivers. Again, World Bank urges Nigeria to remove import restrictions, adopt single foreign exchange rates. Says country has lost its rising growth status of the 20s. El-Rufai, things won't get better in next 3 years of next administration. That is fatalistic. Insists next president must take urgent, tough decisions. Federal government seeks local foreign help to fund NDP. I'll take this day's leading story once again. Higher food, energy, import costs drive inflation to 21.47%. Severe in Ebonyi, Kogi, Rivers. Again, World Bank urges Nigeria to remove import restrictions, adopt single foreign exchange rate. Says country has lost its rising growth status of the 20s. El-Rufai, things won't get better in next 3 years of administration. Insists next president must take urgent, tough decisions. Federal government seeks local foreign help to fund NDP. What a story today.
What a story. You see, as if we had a premonition that was going to come on the front pages, and we're hammering on it. Now, if you look at this headline critically, this is talking about higher food costs.
It's also the same story on the Nation. Yes. The Nation says rising food prices push inflation.
Now, rising food prices, energy, that is higher energy costs. Yes. What is energy? PMS, petrol, diesel, electricity, and all the energy derivatives. Now, import cost, what is driving the cost of imports? Depreciation of naira against the dollar for an import-based economy. So you now need more naira. So you can combine it, higher food prices for you. Okay, I'm not a businessman. You're going to pay higher for your basic meal per day for your family. They're going to add this cost of your feeding to your cost of production. If you now couple it with the cost of energy, which impacts negative rather on cost of logistics, transport, and all of that, they're going to add it to the cost of production. Now, if you factor in your import cost, you also add it to the cost of production. At the end of the day, the product or services you are actually putting out will now be priced higher.
Yes.
This is how it works. And the causative factor for all of this, two of them. Energy is the most important, while import cost comes next to it, that is the cost of forex. But most importantly, it is energy cost. Energy cost is one that is driving price of food high.
Yes, it is.
You see, inflation has started growing since 2016.
But you have energy contributing to the increase in food.
Yes, in fact, the major driver of inflation is energy.
Yes, and you also have security too.
Everything
security is not playing a role too.
Exactly. To drive food because of farmers are unable to.
Exactly.
Energy is something we need to tackle. Now I'm talking about if you don't remove subsidy from energy, from petrol, from electricity, and you should pay at a higher price. Will you imagine what happened to the price of food? With 30,000 naira remain as the minimum wage. What are we talking about? So we need to solve this problem, and it is within our capacity to solve it if only we do the right thing. We need to fix refineries urgently. And I've already said something. To solve this problem, the philosophy guiding our political economy must change. Again, it is arrant nonsense for anybody to insist the government has no business in business. You know the implication of that? Government has been left to rot away. Even the basic responsibility of government has been left in abeyance. Government has outsourced all of its responsibility. Why those in governance are simply take care of themselves.
Yes.
That is what the greatest implication. You see, a businessman, we do bulk purchase for lower prices. A businessman.
Oh, yes.
But in Nigeria, if you look at the procurement process, bulk purchase attracts higher prices. It's only Nigeria. The government is not doing business. The government will put a round peg in a square hole because of political experience. Secondly, I've also emphasized that Niger Delta State and oil producers must begin to invest their 30% derivation in infrastructure that will enable energy production. It is a prerequisite. But then we have enough for local consumption, we can now export and make so much money. But right now we are importing it. We're importing most of our energy sources, including electricity components. We're importing them. It is not supposed to be like that. So as Forex is increasing, cost of energy is also increasing.
Yes, it's also increasing. Apart from it mentioned the petrol, we also have the power.
Power is part of
Electricity,
energy.
yes.
Power
You
is
know, they're
part
also
of,
part of it. And
That's
it's also on the
energy.
increase. I don't know if any person has noticed.
They don't even
Anytime
tell you
they come,
anymore.
they
You
just
buy,
add
you
to
buy,
it.
if you
Yeah,
buy,
it's been like
if you buy
that.
tariff today,
Yeah.
whatever you say, take it. Nobody talks to you anymore.
That's it.
So it's expensive. Everything is driving cost of
And
living
it's not
high.
even there.
It's not there. It's not available,
It's not available.
and it's unaffordable. So we are saying what is before our next set of leadership is resolve energy crisis urgently. Urgently. If you resolve this problem, this single problem, it will bring down the cost of all of this. Let me also tell you, to import an estimated 19 billion liters of petrol per annum will require so much of forex. So that alone is enough to push.
Pressure.
Everything revolves around this and this item. Fix refineries. Government should reform the power sector where they need to take up back their roles, to take it up and fulfill it well. It's as simple as that. That's what we need to do the simple right thing. We must insist the government must work. If government does not work, nothing will work. If you remove subsidy, I know it's difficult for the government now to pay subsidy. I know. Now, but the solution is not remove subsidy per se. Is for the government to not start the process of fixing refineries with timelines of deliverables. Fine. I know some people that are saying, look, they can no longer afford to pay it. It's not my fault that they didn't work hard enough to provide the funds to make me have energy at an affordable rate. It's not my fault. I elected them to do just that. So it's their business. However, they're going to find the money to do it. It's not my headache. But if they lose subsidy today and the price of petrol jumps to 400, 500 naira, and let it be in their record, it was during their time, that petroleum price became 500, then the consequences of higher cost of energy beyond this level, which will likely drive inflation beyond this, or even officially, is better imagined though. Now I feel that even in the UK of all places, stealing has increased because of energy costs.
And you know, this alarm from Erufa is also what talking about. It said things won't get better in next 3 years of next administration. Insists next president must take urgent tough decisions.
I would rather say urgent right decisions. You know what is the tough decision? What can be tougher than what we are facing? The government is not paying decent wages. What can be tougher than that? The government is not paying university teachers well. What can be tougher than that? The government is not funding quality public health care. What can be tougher than that? The government is not funding affordable housing. What can be tougher than that? What sort of decision does everybody talking about? The only decision they should take is on themselves. Let them cut down the cost of governance. Cost of running government. They should drop all their issues. We want to see our next set of ministers driving one car only.
Isn't his advice coming a shade too late after almost 8 years in administration?
Again, whatever FI believes in, he has always advised the government to do. He's been consistent about his economic beliefs. But I'm saying,
but with what this advice is giving, is it owing up that the prices there? Yes, exactly.
No. If you observe, the APC is not campaigning on the achievement of the Buhari administration. No. In fact, this is a clear on first admission that we have failed in the last 7 years. The failure will even last for the next 3 years. That's what the advice is saying. That is the failure. So what I disagree with,
that in the next 3 years,
the failure will no matter what anybody would do, this failure will reverberate into the next 3 years. Now, the only place I disagree with him is his solution to the problem he has rightly diagnosed. I'm saying no. Let us use the word right decisions, not tough decisions.
It's true. What can be tougher than this?
Now, what we are facing already,
When
what can be
there's
tougher than this?
scarcity now and then, no light, no power.
If you know what diesel
what
is
can be
doing to
tougher
our
than
industries, I have friends that ordinarily consider as very rich people. They usually don't complain about hardship. The moment diesel rose from 300 naira plus to nearly,
800?
there's nobody that's not feeling the heat anymore. Businesses are crumbling because of the cost of diesel alone. And diesel has been deregulated. There's no subsidy on diesel. It's that item that is creating a major havoc in the economy. Meaning, government all this while shouldn't have removed its hands in diesel. Now we are faced with the problem of diesel as a catalyst for the destabilization of Nigeria's economic sector, manufacturing sector of the economy. So government must take the right decisions. And I'm insisting that when it comes to energy, government has to be involved. And that government must be very decent, must be above board, must be a government. Because what is called government, what we have in Nigeria is already government. And what is called government. Government is like after God in heaven. That is the God in this world. Government. They protect your life. They won't try to save your life even when God wants to take it. Government will be trying to save you that God shouldn't take you away. Through affordable and qualitative health care. That is government.
Thank you so much. Well, let's look at the last paper we have on our menu, and that is The Nation. The Nation is laden with the story. EFCC recovers 30 billion naira from Accountant General Idris. EFCC recovers 30 billion naira from Accountant General Idris. Agency remains 136 billion naira in 7 months. Politicians under watch. 30 billion naira. I thought 100 from over 117 billion that was traced to him.
The scandal that rocked the Accountant General's office is one that was heartbreaking, even though we know that Nigeria is one that is bedeviled by corruption in high places, but it was reckless, it was wanton. And to think that the president did not only appoint this man, but he appointed him even when he still expired.
Yes, exactly.
You begin to wonder how come the president did not fire this man before he looked at this much? Because if you are somebody of little by 100 billion and you require 30 billion, you still have about 70 billion outstanding.
Exactly. It's poultry.
Now, why would you allow someone to stay in an office for that long? And you didn't detect the fact that he was stealing? Even when people were complaining, deaf ears were turned on it. This is the reason why a government must be proactive. Some people tell you, he has been arrested. No, that's not the problem. This should have been prevented. This should have been stopped the day he stole his first 1 million naira at least. The first day. But nothing happened, and today we are battling to recover stolen money.
One begins to wonder, is it that there's no machinery, there's no check and balance, that somebody who was in charge of exchequer, the person that was in charge of our team,
national cake.
That's kind of a huge amount of money.
The president has all the information at his disposal. That's why he's the president.
It was not detected.
So, well, I don't know why action wasn't taken.
And he could actually also give some out, because some governors,
petitions have been written. People have raised alarm about what's happening there. Nobody answered. He was appointed. So sometimes what the impression I get is that when you see high profile people being prosecuted, maybe they're fall out of favor.
Oh yes.
Otherwise, nobody will prosecute them. Look what happened in NNPC now. How can NNPC convince the whole country that all the monies we derive from crude oil sales goes into paying NNPC staff salary and subsidy, and they cannot remit into the federation account, and somebody is not being fired for this?
But the president himself is in his side.
No sanction, nothing. It's okay.
This agency, I want you to speak on the first rider. Agency remits 136 billion naira in 7 months.
The EFCC?
But it's not being felt in the economy. Yes.
No, of course, this is just, one thing about the economy and remissions. This is why it's better to prevent stealing than to steal it. It's when they remit money into the federation account, it is short among the territories of government, where it is also related.
That's what I want to say.
It's like recycled water.
Properties to cease from all these.
They will auction it, they will sell it and pay back into the coffers of the government.
And there were allegations that they will sell it to themselves.
That's another layer of corruption. But part of people saying, okay, the 136 billion I'm talking about, you won't feel it because those are that they have distributed it to administrators of government will not make you feel it. So this is the reason why something has to change. Why have we normalized graft in public places?
The thing is that, like the former president did say, Olusegun Obasanjo, that he believes in having strong systems in place.
But
Those ones, if you have
you
strong
need
systems
people
in
of
place,
integrity to drive them. You know, this will basically back to the issue of Nigeria. I want to talk about. Any country that is like Nigeria will be corrupt by default. You know why? Nigeria is a country of tribesmen, where all the tribal groupings, over 1,000 of us, are competing for Nigeria's internal resources. Then when they land you as an appointee, you see it as an opportunity to take your own piece of nationality from there. It's so degenerated that people in the Nigeria are now set up. Since you can no longer get our national key through NDDC, I'm sure later. Let's go to the pipeline and help ourselves. Or wallet or oil theft.
yes.
So that's a problem we need to solve. How do you solve it? By uniting Nigeria, entrenching the principles of social justice, social cohesion, equity, and fairness, so that when Nigerians now begin to see themselves as one and see their country as okay, their only reality.
But that was what NYSC sought to do by the
And that was why corruption wasn't as high as this
after the civil
that
war.
period. No, that was like our golden era. Unity schools were established. It was there. So Nigeria did fairly better then than now.
You send somebody that is from Madamawa to
Yes, and he lives there.
From
It
Delta,
was
like that.
beautiful.
Yes, a beautiful. Man, I'm so surprised that many people are even agitating that it should be scrapped.
Because we have degenerated to a level where Nigerians have gone back in time to even for the beginning of life, if you ask me. No, this you are saying, yesterday I was at the forum at the Savannah Center, and I brought up the issue of social cohesion. And that for us to have social cohesion enough to entrench social justice.
Yes.
You see, you and I must have to first recognize our commonality and oneness. Either as black people living in the same geographic space, or in fact, if you have to go deeper, you discover that all ethnic groups in Nigeria are somewhat related.
Yes.
People were challenging this idea there.
There are some words that are the same in all.
And some educated people, some people you think are educated, said it is not true. They were not the same. And we know that is actually worse than racism. For you to look into somebody's face, you say, "Oh, I'm the same with you," and telling you are not the same. It's worse than racism. It means you think we're not the same. So what is the difference? What makes you an Igbo man? In reality, what makes you a Hausa man? How come when you are in hospital, I need blood transfusion? The doctor will not ask you to have been your tribesman to go and transfuse blood to you. This is what is your blood group. That group maybe may be found in a tribe that you are fighting with.
Exactly.
That's the one that matches your blood group. What is God trying to let you know there? You see, we need a whole range, a wide range of national orientation with a new national values, ethos, and belief systems to unite us. And now we focus our attention from struggling internally to global competitions. The day Nigerians begin to realize that they should be competing with Ghana, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, or for global market, China, and go, we will begin to harmonize. But sometimes Nigeria state think that we're competing with Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa. Corruption will be there because what is corruption? Cronyism, favoritism, nepotism, sectionalism. It starts from there. Let me give you a classic example. Someone was appointed as a chief judge of one of the divisions of the judiciary in Nigeria. I'll mention the name. The first thing they did was to remove the chief registrar, who wasn't from his town, and brought the registrar from his town and installed him there. He removed the director of procurement. And guess what? His wife.
His own wife.
His wife. His wife works in the judiciary. He influenced her to work there before as a judge. When then became the CJ, he now elevated his wife to the director of procurement as a director. And so they procured judges' apartment, judges' quarters from a private businessman at an inflated rate. And after they procured the properties, they allocated to the judges. The businessman now returned the money by way of giving them a property in one of the choicest locations in the country. This is how it works. So because of ethnicity and family ties, everybody complied. And you don't can prosecute this matter. How are you going to prosecute it? It passed through due process. Yes. If only we have criminalized nepotism. The very move to remove somebody else and move someone from the town would have raised a red flag. The man should have resigned at that time.
Yes.
To make your wife,
Director.
it should have led to prosecution by ICPC. But we don't, these things are tolerated. Though. So corruption in Nigeria is cultural. Yes, it's religious, it's political, it's normal. Yes. That's why sometimes even the FCC is accused of corruption in the sales of properties. It's normal because the FCC chairman himself comes from somewhere.
Yes.
The FCC directorate, FCC people come from somewhere. They need to take a piece of this like it back. Simple. We need to rebuild Nigeria. If you don't build a nation, it cannot prosper, it cannot be secured. And it begins with equal citizenship, egalitarianism, social justice and equity, where nobody is limited by tribe or religion, where everybody is equal before the law. You know, if you do this and you got something, all of us have a talent that we are endowed with, all of us. Like water, we all find our levels in the economic ecosystem of that country. In the UK, for example, people go to salute and pay as much as 20, 30 pounds to pay a haircut. You know why? A barber is supposed to earn a decent level.
Yes.
So if your talent is barbing, you can become a millionaire through barbing. You don't have to work in NNPC to live a good life in the UK. No. In Nigeria, if I'm a teacher in one rural village, I should need to have healthcare, decent housing, decent salary, and live a life that is happy, equivalent to somebody who's working in NNPC in Abuja. But how you do this?
And there's mutual respect. Unlike here that you see somebody that maybe probably working in NNPC will tell Baba, you come on, you try, you know.
We need a national organization.
Don't do that.
You need. They were not stupid when they talked about dignity of labor.
Yes.
They weren't stupid. No, they were not. They knew that until you have a society that is high on moral values, that appreciates hard work, that can basically look dignified even in their labor, that there's a tendency to be like Nigeria. So they enforced these things. They carried the national orientation through movies. They broke down the barriers of racism and all of that, and continuously expanded the frontiers of equal citizenship. We have not started this journey. Nigerians have started going back in time. Our forefathers were even more patriotic and more citizen in mind than us. Our forefathers. Yes. I don't know where we got this reputation from. It's so deep, it's so bad, that it's not possible in Nigeria to be Hausa and to be Anambra, or to be Igbo and to be Kano. But it is possible to be Indian and British. Not only British, but British Prime Minister. It's possible to be Kenyan and to be American president. Well, I'm going to pause and ponder. So in addition to economic policies, the next president of Nigeria must begin the process of building a nation. But for him to be able to do that, he has to rise above. It's something that we cannot afford any longer. If you observe, Nigeria made the most progress between 1999 and 2007 first and up to even 2011. Because give it to them, Yar'Adua and Jonah and Obasanjo were very nationalistic.
Yes, they were. No, we can't take that away from them.
Very nationalistic. They united us. We paid off our debts. We created surplus. All hands on deck. There was corruption, but it was minimal. That was Obasanjo was able to set up an anti-corruption agency.
Yes.
What do we have to say? The opposite of it.
Opposite of it. Well, obvious. Our time is up. That's where we end today's program on Leadership Television. Don't forget, same time, same station. Next week is another day. Magic Diary.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We ask security. Before I go, I always charge you on personal security. Don't forget, security is a collective responsibility. So stay safe. I remember winning for the devil until I come your way same time next week. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.